What's good, BPTV fam? It's your boy Ant coming at you with another BPTV review. All right, today I'm going to be going over, you guessed it, Star Wars Episode 8. Uh, it's going to be a spoilers review, so if you have not seen the movie, I know how we are about our Star Wars. This is your time to make your escape before it's spoiled for you forever. Um, Give you a couple seconds. Boom, 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 boom. And okay, if you're still here, that means you don't care. Neither do I. Let's get into it. So, Star Wars Episode 8. It's a good movie. Right now, I'm going to go over some things that I liked about it. I'm going to go over things that I didn't like so much after that. But for right now, I'm only talking about the things I liked about the movie. What I liked about the movie. What I liked most about this movie was the character development for Kylo Ren and, well, the other characters as well. But I feel like they developed his character to a point where it's it's where you would want your Star Wars villain to be as of right now in the story. So kudos there. Um, and you could still see like the conflict within Kylo in this movie, but it wasn't like as whiny and overplayed as it was in uh, episode 7, which I really appreciate. He's not whining the whole time. He's not complaining about my dark side and Uncle Granddad Vader or whatever. He's not whining and shit, but he does have that conflict within him still. So I like how they got him to the point where he was using not only like his he was manipulating Ray, like he's not just strong with the Force. His manipulation of Ray and even Snoke, as you saw there in the end, that was a surprise because I knew Kylo was going to kill Snoke. I didn't think it was going to be like that, so that was cool. Like you kind of saw it coming in the moment, but up until that point, you don't know where it's going. So I enjoyed that about Kylo's character. Um, I love how they took time to honor Leia in this movie. Like I know, like the movie was more likely Leia heavy to begin with, but the way that Carrie Fisher was highlighted in this movie was well done. Like it didn't like take away from the story at all. It was believable within the story. Uh, she did spend a bit of time in bed, knocked out, but it is what it is. She's in the entire movie. They didn't just like kill her off or whatever they do with their characters. That unfortunately Carrie Fisher passed, but they did a good job of having her character highlighted in this movie and just like highlighting the badassness of women in general in the Star Wars universe. Big ups to them for that. But they just highlighted, the character that everyone loved, the actress that we all loved as Princess Leia. So that was dope. I like that. Space battles, like the space battles were, well, the movie is one long space battle, which is crazy to think. Like I don't think any of the Star Wars movies are that. Like the movie from beginning to end is a space battle. Um, but the way that they're shot and the way that they have the way they have Poe piloting the X-wing and just the way they this time they actually highlighted the crews of the bombers as they're being blown up. So like they're not just like they're cannon fodder essentially, but they're cannon fodder with a purpose. No. All right, they're cannon fodder with a purpose. So that's cool. Um, they did a lot of good things with like I said, the movie takes place in this one long space battle, but they made it seem like grander than it was because essentially it was the first order against what was left of the resistance at this point. So So yeah, there was a lot at stake, but they just took that and made it feel like the stakes were even crazier, which is amazing for uh, a story that spans an entire galaxy. So that was cool. Um, the new planet, the new planets, I should say, were cool. Like Crate was all right, I guess. I really liked the way they had that one planet where the I forget the name of it, where all the rich people were, all the elites of the First Order, I should say, or anyone who profits off the First Order. There in that island, and like the juxtaposition for what how Finn and Rose just like at first Finn is really excited to be there, like because it looks grand, it's beautiful, and but you don't like that's one of the lessons in this movie. Is like things aren't always what they seem. So that that was a cool planet to be on. Um, I mean, like they didn't the planet wasn't that great, but it was just like that scene. It was like it was well shot. Um, from there, like I said, this movie had some pretty good lessons in it. Like the lessons that what Poe's character, where his development comes in, is he has to learn that sometimes the hard thing to do is nothing, but even still, sometimes it's the right thing to do. So that's cool. Like the way they highlighted Poe's weakness, like because from the outside looking in, Poe is an amazing pilot. He's one of the biggest like forces in the resistance as far as just combat ability, and he's got everything from the outside looking in, but from internally you see that Poe struggle with his brash actions coming back and having dire consequences. Like in the beginning of this, where he gets the bombers killed, like he gets an entire, not fleet, but like a squadron almost, just like destroyed to take out a ship where he's looking at it like, oh, you know, we accomplish our mission, and then Leia, as the leader of everything, the general in charge, like she is in charge of everyone. She's looking at him like, what was the cost? Like, is your ego more important than the lives of the people who are going to be following you? So that was a good lesson to learn in that. Um, but like I said, the character development was really good. Um, the stuff with Luke was intense. It was it kind of didn't go exactly how I'd expected to go. Like they said, Grumpy Luke was going to be in this movie, so here we are with Grumpy Luke. But he's still kind of like grumpy and playful, almost like Dagobah. It's pretty much Luke is Ray's Yoda. Um, so and oh, shout out to Yoda for making his appearance. That's always dope. A Yoda appearance. So he's still teaching Luke even now. Like as we know, Luke's in the later years of his life, but he's still learning about everything. So that was dope. But like I said, back to Ray on on the island with Luke. Luke, his hesitance to interact with Ray, and like the way that his hesitance to be in the Force, it's like well played here. They don't overplay it. It's kind of justifiable, but then you see that Luke still has a lot to learn, which is why this is happening right now. Um, his and you realize that he had some regrets and stuff that he had carrying into him to lead to his seclusion. Like he feels like his the way he interprets the Force is uh is is flawed because of the way it was taught to the Jedi Order, or taught through the Jedi Order, about what it means to be good. So big ups there with that character development. Um, I keep going to Ray and I keep going to branch off because Ray is really the lifeline of this trilogy. Is Ray's story. So there's always going to be a connection somewhere along the way to Ray. So, but like her development with this whole thing where she's being tempted by Kylo, and they're trying to play this mind game of who's going to turn the other, because they're strong and they're both strong. And I know a lot of people found it hard for Rey to be equally strong to Kylo because he had the years of training and that. But you discover that she has a huge like reserve of force energy within her. Like she's a pretty powerful character. Like she's not like old OP. Like when she was going up against Snoke, like they weren't like, oh, she's throwing like Snoke around. Like no, she's strong naturally, and she has had some combat ability and things like that with her staff, as we saw her training with her staff. But like that, just like they didn't overplay her ability when it came to like a true master in the Force. So that was really cool. Um, she kind of flailing there with that lightsaber is kind of weird looking, but it is what it is. She's still learning, right? So she got to her duel and then with Kylo, and that turned into uh, a whole thing where they're just wiped out all of Snoke's guards after Kylo kills Snoke, and then like she's fighting on par with Kylo, who but you can still see they're technically equal in power, as we see by how they rip that lightsaber in half as they're both fighting each other, trying to get to it so that the other can't get to it. But yeah, that they were locked in like in a force battle with that lightsaber, and what we found out that their force ability is pretty equal. It split the lightsaber straight down the middle, Luke's lightsaber, straight down the middle, and they both went flying. But what we also see is that Kylo Ren was playing everyone. So even though he's the one who killed Snoke, once he realized he can't turn Rey, he then goes to convince um, Hux that it was Rey who killed Snoke and not himself who was the actual one who killed Snoke. So that was interesting. Like I said, it goes back to Kylo's character development. So back to Rey. Rey, her through story was pretty much her figuring out her place. So once she set on her journey, she wasn't sure what she wanted or what she needed to do. So what you see is in her through line for this movie is her going from trying to figure out what her place is in the Force to what she needs to do to be more powerful and more in touch with the side of good. So that was good there. Like her and Kylo's juxtaposition as far as their characters, you can see like how each of them were teetering on the edge, but you know at the same time they were firmly on their sides. Like they were like trying to convince each other. Well, not she wasn't just trying to convince Kylo, but it seemed like she was giving in at one point to the side of darkness, and they snatched her back as well. So, like just the way they developed Kylo, Rey was the exact opposite. Like her Kylo's story went like he was hesitant up front trying when it came time to kill Leia in the beginning in that space battle. He so that shows that conflict there. He was still harboring, a side of him that wanted to be good. And from that point to where you see he's just at the end just relentless. Like he's going after Luke. He's force choking people. He's throwing people across the room. Like there's a legitimate fear of Kylo right now. So that's going to be cool to see going forward. And now that they've developed Rey to this point, you kind of believe that they're equals. So can't wait to see what they do, how they wrap this up with Rey. Um, yeah, it was kind of weird though. It's like they kind of threw in that her parents were nobody. I don't know how true that is. Like he's trying to draw her to the dark side, so He could have been using that as a lie. So we'll see. Um, like we'll probably figure it out by the end of the trilogy. Uh, but it is what it is. Um, Now, those things I liked about the movie. There's so much more I liked about the movie, but I don't feel like making this an hour long video. But let's get into the things where I disliked. All right. So one of the things I disliked was some of the characters had some dumb decision making skills, like Poe. Like I said, yeah, all the characters had some good character development, but Poe, like the way his character made choices and how he acted in this movie was kind of like, yeah, like why would you do that? So that starts out like early on in the movie as well, where he leads a squadron into battle to die pretty much because his ego wouldn't let him retreat when it was time to retreat. So he only sees like the goal, the mission. He doesn't actually see the cost. So I feel like, yeah, there was a lesson that needed to be learned there, but just the fact that, I don't know, it just bugged me that they just made him like so much of a flyboy, as he was called in the movie. So much of a flyboy that he's just like, it was like bordering on dumb, like, and just like, why would you even like, who would do that? Who would just like knowingly just kill off all these people? But that's one thing. Um, Another thing that I kind of was on in this movie, I feel like they killed Snoke a little early. Like I feel like they could have used him some more. Like, because at the end of the day, what was Snoke's purpose? Like, who he was doesn't matter because he's dead now. Who he is, like, he's not anybody anymore because he's dead now. So it's like, I feel like they could have used Snoke more. I would have appreciated like Luke and Snoke going at it or something. But as we know, because we've all seen this movie already, because spoiler review, both of those characters die. So at the end of the day, Luke had his story, but who is Snoke? I feel like, I don't know, maybe they'll address it in a spinoff or a prequel or something. I know I'm not supposed to use the word prequel, but it's what it's going to be if it does happen. It's going to be a prequel. Um, who, like, what is Snoke's story? So yeah, um, Finn's character, he had his moments where, like, in the last movie, it's kind of a little too cheesy or whatever. Like, but it is what it is. Like I said, Finn was a great character though because you can see he had a similar story arc to the first movie where he's still trying to run. He's still facing his cowardice. But by the end, he's more steeled in his resolve to be a part of the alliance, which about time. So his story looks good going for him for it. But yeah, I should have said that. I should have mentioned that in my likes. But I don't know. I forgot to mention him somehow. But yeah, as far as, like I said, the moments of cowardice though for Finn, I feel like were unnecessary because he already had that story arc in the last movie. But it is what it is. Um, Things I didn't like: the lack of lightsaber battles. I was about to say star battles, and I don't know, blah. The lack of lightsaber battles in this movie, kind of like that. Well, it's not. I don't want to say lack of because there were a couple good ones, but at the same time, it's like the ones they had should have been more intense, like, or the one at the end where with Luke and Kylo was pretty badass, just because, as we found out, that Luke wasn't actually there. That's like some crazy force level, but like that's like I don't think we've ever seen anybody do anything like that. Like just project themselves that distance and then just like go head to head with this force, so to speak, uh, of evil in this movie. It's just like, and then the way he went out is just like, Good job, Luke. Like I fucks with you, but we needed more of that. I felt like we could have had more of that. We didn't get it with the with Snoke. Like he didn't use any kind of lightsaber. So like, was he a Sith? What was he? Like he obviously like so he was powerful in the Force. The way he overpowered Rey, and like he was just like flinging her around the room. But I would like to have seen him with a lightsaber at least, like ignite it or something. I don't know, but that is something that I don't know. Maybe we'll see and from another movie later down the line about Snoke, the early years or whatever. Um, but yeah, so other than that, I didn't have many dislikes for the movie. So hey, like I said, good movie. I don't want to say great movie because feel like words like great and awesome and amazing are overplayed these days. But it's definitely a good quality film. You're gonna go in there. You're gonna have a good time. You're gonna laugh. You're gonna I don't know, might cry, whatever. Like there's some sappy moments in there. And like I said, everybody who appreciated Carrie Fisher, is probably gonna like feel a little away seeing this movie because, like I said, she's a prominent figure in this movie. And once we leave this film, like that's the end of Leia. So even though she doesn't die, we know we're not going to see her anymore. The characters probably mention her, but we're not going to see her. So there's that. So yeah, that's it. That's what just tell me what you think about the movie down in the comments down below. Don't forget like, comment, subscribe. Hit us up on all our social media platforms at Binge Play TV, or same as here. So that's gonna be it, and let's wrap it up.